The offensive coordinator search is heating up in Los Angeles. On today's video, we are going to let you know about the interviewees who have already gone to LA and interviewed for the OC job with Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. Then we'll talk about a couple of the big fish that are still waiting to interview with Los Angeles and how Los Angeles cannot let those two get out of the building if they want to have the best offense possible in the year of 2026. Before we get into any of that, though, come on in and hit that sub button. We're trying to get to 2K subscribers right now. We are trying to chase down Panthers today. They are the #1 new channel in subscribers here at Chat Sports. Chargers now, we're in second place. I don't want to be in second place any longer. So if you love the Chargers, you want to get the latest news and rumors about the team in the year of 2026, make sure that you come on in and hit that subscribe button. Now, let's get into the video. This is Chargers Now. I am your host, Will Ortner, and I think it's really important to start off today's show by talking about the candidates who have already gone into LA to go and interview for the job of being the offensive coordinator with the Chargers. And I think that there are a couple of names on here that make sense why they were. There's a couple of names that are on here that, I'll tell you right now, I do not want to deal with a Greg Roman 2.0 situation. The first interview that we're going to talk about is Arthur Smith, the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive coordinator. At one point was a head coach over in Atlanta. And this is the type of candidate that makes sense. You bring in Arthur Smith because he's been an NFL lifer, right? He's been a head coach for many, many years in the National Football League. But I'll tell you right now, he's Roman 2.0. He's the type of offensive coordinator that is going to run the ball on first down. He's going to run the ball on second down. If it's third and short, he's going to run the ball. If it's third and long, he's going to ask Justin Herbert to be a hero. Name a team that Arthur Smith has been a coach for that has done anything in the postseason, because that is what this Chargers team is trying to do. I do not want Arthur Smith in LA. Next candidate that we have to talk about is Brian Callahan, the former Tennessee Titans head coach. He came in, interviewed as a potential candidate. When I look at this, I don't believe that Callahan will end up in LA. In fact, it does kind of seem like he's being tied to some other jobs right now. I'll tell you what, no. It's that simple. I do not want Callahan in LA. There are no Chargers fans who are serious about this team that should want him in LA. It just doesn't make sense. Again, he'd be Greg Roman 2.0, and he'd be actually a worse version, in my opinion, of Arthur Smith. Next candidate that was interviewed is Shane Day, the quarterback coach here in LA. And this interview actually, to me, makes a lot of sense for the Chargers' perspective. And to be honest with you, it's probably the right thing for them to do as an organization, because what the Chargers have now done is shown that they are willing to at least look at candidates that are inside of their organization for promotions, right? I don't know that Shane Day is going to get this job. But what I will say about Day getting the interview, this would make it more likely for an up-and-coming coach to come in, be a position coach, be a passing game coordinator, be a running game coordinator, come in, work with the Chargers, and see a potential for growth in the organization. The best thing that you can do as an NFL team is allow smart coaches and to show smart coaches that you are willing to listen to them and you are willing to at least further them on their journey. So I love that Shane Day got his interview. It's the same thing for Marcus Brady, the passing game coordinator here with the Chargers. What you will say and what I will say about this Chargers team is their passing game worked pretty darn well. Now, some of that is because of what Justin Herbert has been doing, of course, and it helps to have Justin Herbert as your quarterback to really throw the ball around the yard and make Day and make Brady look really good. But it is smart still by the organization to at least do their diligence with some inside hires. Personally, I still would look outside of the organization. I think that there are a couple of big fish, and if you can land them, that would be a better deal than necessarily a promotion for a Day or for a Brady. But I will say this, I might prefer Brady or Day over Arthur Smith or Brian Callahan. That's just my 2 cents. The last interview that the Chargers had actually ended up happening last night. Drew Terrell, the Cardinals passing game coordinator. Now, I find this one a little bit of an interesting look at this squad, an interesting decision of an interviewee here because while Kyler Murray didn't necessarily have a ton of successes last year, now some of that is due to injury, you did see Jacoby Brissett. He wasn't terrible. Like when you talk about that Cardinals team, there were a lot of issues, but to say that the passing game was the number one issue, I don't know that I would say that. Still, I don't know that Terrell is the guy that I would necessarily look at to be the potential coach or the new offensive coordinator for this Chargers squad. Sound off in the comment section right now. Which offensive coordinator candidate is your favorite for LA? It could be one of the guys that have already interviewed for the spot, or it could be one of the guys that I'm about to talk about that still have to interview for the Chargers here in the coming moments. Or it could be someone that's completely off the wall who hasn't even had an opportunity to come in and interview and hasn't necessarily been linked quite yet with the Chargers. Let me know down below in the comment section. So the interviews that are still to come for the Chargers, Brian Daboll, the former New York Giants head coach, and Mike McDaniel, the former Miami head coach as well. Both of these, to me, are the big fish in the small pond, and the Chargers should have a good opportunity to get both of these former head coaches to be their offensive coordinator if they don't take head coaching jobs, because they have the best, well, one of the best quarterbacks in this cycle, right? Justin Herbert is an elite QB in the National Football League. He might not be a tier 1 QB, but he's definitely a tier 2, and you've seen in LA what this Chargers team can be when he's Superman. Imagine what you could get out of him if you're one of these offensive coordinators if you don't force him to have to be Superman because you build up the rest of the squad around him. First, we're going to look at Brian Daboll, the former Giants head coach, is going to interview for this spot. This coming from Ian Rappaport and this tweet, Tom Pelissero. Now, obviously, Daboll is going to be a person that a lot of teams are looking as a potential head coach, but I don't know that he gets a head coaching job in this cycle because of the lack of success that he had in New York after that playoff year run. So I do think that Brian Daboll is the most gettable offensive coordinator candidate that is going to be the best offensive coordinator candidate for the Chargers. I think that Daboll would be an absolute home run hire in LA, and he would get the most out of Justin Herbert, and you'd see this offense really grow. I also think for the Chargers that Daboll could come in and stay as the offensive coordinator for a couple of years while teams kind of go through the process of forgetting the lack of success that he had in New York. And so you could not only see this offense grow from year one, but you would be able to see it grow in year 2, 3, and 4, and I do think that is important. Now, the bad news for the Chargers, the Bills fired Sean McDermott yesterday. After that firing, guess who became a hot commodity, who became a hot name for that Bills position? Brian Daboll. Why? Because he's a guy who has a lot of ties to Buffalo. Josh Allen loves him. Some of his best years were with Brian Daboll. And while there wasn't a lot of success at the end of his New York Giants run, this man still got Daniel Jones into the postseason in the National Football League, and they won a game. So he's a pretty darn good coach. Hopefully the Bills do not hire Brian Daboll so that the Chargers can hire him to be their offensive coordinator. Then we're going to look at Mike McDaniel, who is set to interview with the Chargers today for their vacant OC job. This coming to us from Ian Rappaport. Now, it is important to know with McDaniel, I do think that he has a better opportunity than Brian Daboll necessarily does to become a head coach in this NFL head coaching hiring cycle. That's why, to me, give the man a blank check. Whatever you need to do to keep him in the building, give him that amount of money. Give him that amount of control as the offensive coordinator. Again, it's going to be a short marriage because McDaniel is a good coach and will be a head coach again in the National Football League. But I can tell you right now, Tua is a lesser version at head coach, or at quarterback, than Justin Herbert is at quarterback. So imagine what McDaniel can do with Herbert as opposed to what we've seen him do with Tua, which was pretty darn well and got that Miami Dolphins to the postseason a lot of the time. To me, The OC has to be one of these two guys if they do not get a head coaching job. It needs to be Daboll or it needs to be Mike McDaniel. And if the Chargers do not make one of those hires as their OC and neither one of them gets a head coaching job and is an offensive coordinator somewhere else, that is a misuse and a misread by the organization. These are the best two offensive coordinator candidates between Daboll and McDaniel, and the Chargers need to do everything in their power to bring them into LA. If they do not, I have a real fear that we might be seeing Roman 2.0 in LA, and I just don't know if that is going to be good enough. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video. Make sure that you come on in and hit that subscribe button for Chargers Now. We are quickly growing the channel here on Chat Sports, trying to catch up to Panthers today, and I think that we could. All you got to do, come on in, hit that subscribe button. We'll keep you up to date on any news, any rumors going around with the LA Chargers. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video, and bolt up.